Когда Мэнни Трилло убил моего мужа, я... When Manny Trillo killed my husband, I
killed my husband. I was angry.
Я была в ярости. I was angry.
For years I couldn't.
Несколько лет я даже его имя не могла произносить. For years I couldn't even say his name.
Couldn't even say his name. And one day.
Но потом однажды кто-то рассказал мне о его книге. Then one day someone told me about his book.
Someone told me about his book.
Мне было безумно любопытно. I had a morbid curiosity.
Had a morbid curiosity, so I.
Я пошла и купила экземпляр. So I went out and bought a copy.
Went out and bought a copy. I read the whole.
Я прочла ее всю. I read the whole thing.
In 2 days.
За 2 дня. In 2 days.
I was.
Я была в шоке. I was shocked.
Shocked. How could that?
Как этот человек мог написать столь... How could that man have written such a...
That man have written such. I was just.
Я просто... I was just...
Everything.
Все, во что я верила, everything I had believed.
I had believed. It changed.
Мой взгляд на вещи стал другим. It changed the way I look at things.
The way I look at things.
Miss Sando. Miss Sando.
Do you believe?
Вы считаете, что мистер Трилло изменился? Do you believe Mr. Trillo has changed?
Mr. Trio has changed. Yes?
Да. Yes.
Yes, I do.
Думаю, да. Yes, I do.
I believe.
Я думаю, он раскаялся. I believe he's repented.
He's repented. He's changed his heart.
Он изменил свою суть. He's changed his heart.
And he's changed.
И мою тоже. And he's changed mine.
Mine.
Этого заявления достаточно. That's quite a statement. Конечно же, она понимает, что это все вранье. Of course, she doesn't believe a word she just said.
Believe a word she just said.
Miss Sando.
Мисс Сандо, вы считаете, что мистер Трилло изменился? Do you believe Mr. Trillo has changed?
Do you believe Mr. Trio has changed? Yes?
Да. Yes.
Yes, I do.
Думаю, да. Yes, I do.
There it is.
Вот это.
Slightest hitch.
Едва заметное покачивание головой. Slightest head shake, no.
Take none. Now.
Мы делаем так в случае, когда мы говорим то, во что не верим. We do this by accident, when we don't mean what we say.
We do this by accident when we don't mean what we say. Holly Sander.
Холли Сандо делала это каждый раз, когда говорила о том, что Трилло изменился. Holly Sander did it every time she said she thought Trilo had changed.
Did it every time she said she thought Trio had changed. And then there's this.
И потом еще вот это. And then there's this. Вы не можете дать ему умереть в этой тюрьме. You can't let him die in this prison.
Let him die in this prison.
There.
Вон там. There.
Classic.
Классический пронзительный взгляд, очень удивительный для искренне верящего мистера Трилло. Classic glare, which is a bit surprising from a true belief in Mr. Trilo.
There, which is a bit surprising from a true believer in Mr. Trio. Why the lobby?
Зачем тогда добиваться освобождения человека, убившего твоего мужа? Why then lobby for the release of a man who killed your husband?
For the release of a man who killed your husband, if you don't believe.
Если ты сама не веришь в то, что он изменился. If you don't believe he's changed.
He's changed. Perhaps she's trying to.
Может быть, она пытается убедить себя? She may be trying to convince herself.
Convince herself? Maybe she.
Может, она верит, что он изменился умственно. Maybe she believes he is changed intellectually.
He believes he's changed intellectually, but she can't quite get it.
Она не может в это поверить на уровне эмоций. But she can't quite get there emotionally.
There, emotionally?
Or maybe Trio.
Или, может, Трилло попросил одного из своих старых дружков пригрозить ей. Or maybe Trilo got one of his old buddies to threaten her.
Trio got one of his old buddies to threaten. People always.
Люди всегда считают, что злость – самая опасная эмоция. People always think that anger is the most dangerous emotion.
Think that anger is the most dangerous emotion, but
Но отвращение – это язык ненависти. But disgust is the language of hatred.
disgust is the language of hatred.
Hitler?
Гитлер, говорящий о евреях. Hitler, talking about the Jews.
Talking about the Jews? Bin Laden? Talking.
Бен Ладен, говорящий об американцах. Бен Ладен, talking about Americans.
About Americans and you.
И вы во время издевательства над Эриком Митчеллом. And you during the hazing of Eric Mitchell?
During the hazing of Eric Mitchell.
What did you have against
Чем Эрик Митчелл вам не угодил? What did you have against Eric Mitchell?
Eric Mitchell?
The kid made my
Парень превратил мою жизнь в ад. The kid made my life hell.
life hell.
You've been with the
Вы проработали в департаменте почти 10 лет. You've been with the department for almost a decade.
department for almost a decade. How does a pro
Decade. Как стажер, такой как Митчелл, смог превратить вашу жизнь в ад? How does a probie like Mitchell make your life hell?
like Mitchell make your life hell?
9
9 лет. 9 years.
years. 9 years.
За 9 лет у меня никогда не было проблем. 9 years I never had a problem.
Years and I never had a problem. I mean, the occasion.
В смысле, случалась время от времени неудачная шутка. I mean, the occasional bad joke.
Bad joke. Watermelon in the
Арбуз в шкафчике. Watermelon in the locker.
locker. I kept my
Но я держал язык за зубами. But I kept my mouth shut.
mouth shut. When I'm black,
Мы не черные, мы не белые. We're not black, we're not white.
when I'm white, we're firemen.
Мы пожарные. We are firemen.
So we get hate.
Да, у нас дедовщина. So we get hazed.
Mitchell get hate.
Когда взялись за Митчелла, он побежал в вулкан. Mitchell gets hazed. He runs to the Balkans.
He runs to the Balkans.
Balkans. Общество чернокожих пожарных. The Black Firefighter Society.
Society requested a
Запросил перевод. Requested a transfer.
transfer.
Митчелл представил это расизмом. Mitchell made this racial.
Made this racial.
So you had to choose.
И вам пришлось выбирать сторону. So you had to choose sides.
Nice.
I tried to protect.
Я пытался защитить его. I tried to protect him.
But he was
Но он был молодой и гордый. But he was young and proud.
young and proud. He wouldn't learn.
Он не хотел учиться. He wouldn't learn.
And the more he
И чем больше он давил, тем хуже становилось. And the more he pushed, the worse it got.
pushed, the worse it got. So you
И вы запрыгнули в пожарную машину. So you hopped on the fire wagon.
Hopped on the fire wagon. Found out he had a peanut allergy.
Вы выяснили, что у него аллергия на арахис. You found out he had a peanut allergy.
And you thought,
Allergy. И вы думали, что это его научит. And you thought, that'll teach him.
well, that'll teach him.
yeah.
Да, мы сделали это месяц назад. Yeah, we did that month ago.
We did that months ago. The kid got hot.
Парень заработал сыпь с головы до ног. The kid got hives all over.
Knives all over, and it was funny.
И это было чертовски смешно, но не убило его. And it was funny as hell, but it did not kill him.
As hell, but it didn't kill him.
Нет, no.
Things got much worse.
Дела стали намного хуже. Things got much worse.
I guess.
Мое предположение, кто-то испортил его снаряжение. My guess, someone screwed with his equipment.
Someone screwed with his equipment. Wasn't you?
Не вы? Wasn't you?
I wouldn't touch.
Я бы не стал трогать чужое снаряжение. I wouldn't touch another firefighter's equipment.
Another firefighter's equipment. Now I may have.
Может, я и ненавидел этого парня, но я не желал ему смерти. Now, I may have hated the kid, but I did not want him dead.
Hated the kid, but I didn't want him dead.
Someone did.
Но кто-то желал. Someone did.
Who had the racial?
У кого были расовые проблемы с Митчеллом? Who had the racial problem with Mitchell?
Problem with Mitchell.
A lot of guys.
Много у кого. A lot of guys.
It could have been.
Это мог быть и любой из них. It could have been any one of them.
Any one of them.
Can't believe Walt.
Не могу поверить, что Уоллес раньше ничего не сказал. I can't believe Wallace did not come forward earlier.
West didn't come forward earlier. Black?
Чернокожий пожарный не захотел доносить о расизме. Yeah, the black firefighter won't rat on the racists.
Firefighter won't rat on the racists. It is a little surprising.
Racists. Немного удивительно, не правда ли? It is a little surprising, isn't it?
Isn't it? Well, not really. The firehouse is a more important association.
Пожарная команда для Уоллеса более важна, чем раса. The firehouse is a more important association for Wallace than race.
Association for Wallace than race. And in his mind,
И по его мнению, цвет кожи не имел значения, пока не появился Митчелл. And in his mind, race wasn't an issue until Mitchell came along.
race wasn't an issue until Mitchell came along.
You're saying this was...
Вы утверждаете, что это была вина Эрика. You're saying this was Eric's fault.
It's Eric's fault? No, no, this...
Нет, это было новое лицо расизма. No, this is the new face of racism.
This is the new face of racism. Instead of overt...
Вместо явного предубеждения, instead of overt prejudice,
Prejudice, you see unconscious...
вы видите неосознанную дискриминацию. You see unconscious discrimination.
Just discrimination.
Никто не вступает в Ку-клукс-клан, но большинство людей nobody is joining the clan, but a lot of people clan все еще нанимает белых вместо черных с похожим резюме. Still hire the white guy over the black guy with the same resume.
White guy over the black guy with the same resume.
And when
И когда неосознанный расизм дает о себе знать, это может вызвать фатальные последствия. And when unconscious racism surfaces, it can be lethal.
conscious racism surfaces, it can be lethal. What starts out
Вот так-то, что начинается как приемлемая дедовщина, оборачивается смертью. And then what starts out as reasonable hazing turns deadly.
there's reasonable hazing, turns deadly.
So how do we find?
И все же, как нам найти виновного? So, how do we find the man responsible?
And the men responsible.
We'd like to
Мы бы хотели провести в компании небольшой эксперимент. We'd like to run the company through a little experiment.
run the company through a little experiment.
As I said,
Как я говорила ранее, as I said earlier,
earlier,
я читала его книги, я видела его интервью. I've read his books and I've seen him interviewed.
I've read his books and I've seen him interviewed, and
И я действительно считаю, что Мэнни Трилло изменился. And I really believe that Manny Trillo is a changed man.
I really believe that Manny Trio is a changed man.
I asked Holly
Я попросила Холли Сандо прийти, но она не пришла. Поэтому I asked Holly Sandor to come in, and she wasn't up for it. So
sent her to come in. She wasn't up for it, so I pulled her statement.
я вытянула ее заявление для прессы после слушания о досрочном освобождении. I pulled her statement to the press after the parole hearing.
Meant to the press after the parole hearing.
I think it.
Я думаю, это удивительно, как он изменился. I think it's amazing the way he's turned himself around.
It's amazing the way he's turned himself around.
She keeps flashing.
У нее до сих пор проскакивают презрение и гнев. She keeps flashing contempt, anger.
Contempt, anger. She still hates the guy.
Она до сих пор ненавидит этого человека. She still hates the guy.
You may be right.
Возможно, ты права. You may be right.
Trio may be.
Возможно, Трилло угрожает ей. Трилло may be threatening her.
Threatening her.
No, I told you.
Нет, я уже говорил вам. Lightman? No, I told you.
Everything we've seen.
Все связанное с Трило, что мы видели до сих пор. Everything we've seen from Trilo up till now.
From Trio up till now, the old
Старую видеозапись, допрос, the old videotape, the interview.
videotape, the interview, everything.
Все говорит нам о том, что он изменился в лучшую сторону. Everything suggests he's evolved.
Suggests he's evolved. It's not the same.
Он совершенно другой человек. He's not the same man at all.
Man at all.
Did any of the reporters
Кто-нибудь из журналистов спросил ее, почему она решила дать показания в пользу Трило? Did any of the reporters ask her why she decided to testify for Trilo?
asked her why she decided to testify for Trio? Yeah.
Да, ее спросили об этом. Yeah, they did.
They did.
Miss Sanders.
Мисс Сандо, скажите. Man on tape. Мисс Сандо, tell me.
Tell me what made you come.
Что заставило прийти вас после всех этих лет? What made you come forward after all these years?
Forward after all these years.
Я услышала, что... Сандо, I had heard that.
Had heard that the governor
Губернатор рассматривает возможность помилования. Я решила, что... The governor was considering a pardon, and I thought, well, it...
was considering a pardon, and I thought, well, it's time.
Сейчас самое время. It's time.
Fine. Eyebrows up.
Брови приподняты и сдвинуты. Eyebrows up, pulled together.
Pull together.
Fear.
Страх. Fear.
There's your answer.
Вот твой ответ. There's your answer.
Stopping by for
Заглянули перекусить. Stopping by for lunch.
lunch.
No, just
Нет, всего лишь вопрос. No, just a question.
a question. Did you get someone?
Вы кого-то посылали угрожать Холли Сандо? Did you get someone to threaten Holly Sando?
To threaten Holly Sando?
I'm not ready.
Я не угрожаю Холли Сандо. I'm not threatening Holly Sando.
Alessandro.
Really?
Правда? Really?
Because I mean, that would be.
Потому что это бы выглядело вашим типичным гангстерским ходом. Верно? Because that would be your typical gangbanger move, right?
A typical gangbanger move, right? Get in touch.
Связаться со своими старыми знакомыми. Get in touch with your old familiars.
Your old familiars. Send her a message.
И послать ей весточку. Send her a message.
That's not me, not.
Слушайте, это не я так больше не делаю. Look, that's not me, not anymore.
Anymore. You sure you haven't?
Вы уверены, что не звонили никому из своих старых друзей? You sure you haven't called any of your old friends?
Called any of your old friends? I don't talk to.
Я больше не общаюсь с теми уродами. I don't talk to those lacras.
Like that. Oh, down there.
О нет, это неправда. Oh no, that is not the truth.
It's not the truth. See how you're.
Вы заметили, как вы сгорбились? You see how you're hunched over.
Hunched over. Well, we do that.
Мы так делаем, когда лжем. Well, we do that when we are lying.
When we're lying, we try to take up.
Мы пытаемся занять как можно меньше места. We try to take up as little space as possible.
As little space as possible. And you really gotta work.
И вам действительно нужно поработать над своим импульсом злости, приятель. And you really ought to work on that anger trigger, mate.
On that anger trigger, mate. Raises the.
Повышает кровяное давление. Raises the blood pressure.
Blood pressure and the heart rate.
Сердцебиение. And the heart rate.
It's not good for you.
Это вредно. It's not good for you.
Okay.
Хорошо. Окей.
The truth is.
Правда в том, the truth is,
I'm in contact.
что я общаюсь с некоторыми из них. I'm in contact with some of them.
I'm working with the.
Я веду работу по установлению. I'm working with the gang task force.
Gang task force on Tuesday.
Перемирие между Пуньо и Ла Салва. On a truce between Pуньо and Ла Салва. Они попросили меня сохранить это в тайне. They told me to keep it quiet. Это опасно. It's dangerous. Но я никого не посылал к Холли Сандо. But I haven't been sending anyone out after Holly Sando.
I don't believe you.
Я вам не верю. I don't believe you.
He hasn't changed.
Он не изменился. He hasn't changed.
His truce?
Его перемирие только для того, чтобы полицейские не заметили. His truce just so that the cops won't notice.
Just so that the cops won't notice that he's taking over.
Что он снова возглавил Эль Пуньо. That he is taking over E.I. Pуньо again.
is real.
Ничто не является правдой или ложью. Nothing is real or a lie.
Real or a lie. It all depends.
Это зависит от цвета. It all depends on the color.
Depends on the color of the glass you
Стекла, через который ты смотришь. Of the glass you're looking through.
looking through. Look.
Слушай, я могу сделать много хорошего, если ты вытащишь меня отсюда. Look, there's so much good I can do if you just get me out of here.
There's so much good I can do if you just get me out of here. Get me out of here.
Вытащи меня отсюда, и я докажу тебе это. Get me out of here, and I'll prove it to you.
Yeah, I'll prove it to you.
Over the next 10 minutes,
В следующие 10 минут, over the next 10 minutes,
you'll be shown
вам покажут серию снимков. You'll be shown a series of images.
a series of images. Each image will
Каждый снимок будет сопровождаться группой прилагательных. Each image will be followed by a series of adjectives.
be followed by a series of adjectives. If the
Если прилагательное соответствует изображению, нажимайте «Да». If the adjective describes the image, click «Yes».
adjective describes the image, click yes. If not, click
Если нет, нажмите «Нет». If not, click «No».
Hey, Sylvia.
Привет, Сильвия. Hey, Сильвия.
What are you guys up to?
Чем вы тут занимаетесь? What are you guys up to?
We're testing for
Мы проверяем склонность к расизму. We are testing for racial bias.
racial bias. People with
Racial
unconscious
bias. Людям с неосознанной склонностью легче соотносить. People with unconscious bias find it easier.
bias find it easier to associate
Положительные прилагательные с лицами европеоидного типа. To associate positive adjectives with Caucasian faces.
positive adjectives with Caucasian faces. When we shift
Когда мы переключаемся, when we shift to,
to an African American
на афроамериканский тип лица, пожарные, склонные к расизму, an African American face, the biased firefighters,
face, the biased firefighters still associate
продолжают соотносить прилагательные с изображением, still associate the adjective with the image.
the adjective with the image. It just takes
Это просто отнимает у них больше времени. It just takes them longer.
them longer. Plot the racist.
Засеки расиста. Clock the racist.
Oh, they're all racist. Yeah, 80%.
Ну да, 80% людей, проходящих этот тест, имеют к этому склонность. Yeah, 80% of people who take this test are biased.
And the people who take this test are biased. We're just looking for the...
Мы лишь ищем человека, у которого на это уйдет больше всего времени. We are just looking for the guy who takes the longest.
guy who takes the longest.
Other just
Они почти закончили. Foster. Oh, they are just about done.
not done. All right, can we pull up?
Вычислить среднее время для каждого. Pull up the average association time for each of them.
The average association time for each of them?
It's taking David Cat.
Дэвиду Кэддику. Locker. It's taking David Caddick.
Like 3 times as long. You say nice things about it.
Понадобилось времени втрое дольше других сказать приятные вещи об афроамериканцах. 3 times as long to say nice things about African Americans.
African Americans.
Looks like we
Кажется, у нас есть победитель. Looks like we have a winner.
have a winner.
I'm not
Я не расист. I'm not a racist.
a racist.
No.
Racist.
Yep.
Нет, ты просто не считаешь себя расистом. Foster. No, you didn't think you are.
I don't think you are. But it would explain
Но это объясняет, почему ты принял. But it would explain why you took
why you took such an active
столь активное участие в дедовщине. Such an active role in the hazing.
role in the hazing.
I didn't do anything.
Я не делал ничего такого, чего бы не делали другие парни. I didn't do anything different than the other guys.
Anything different than the other guys. You didn't mess with Eric Mitchell.
Ты не портил снаряжение Митчелла. You didn't mess with Eric Mitchell's equipment.
His equipment. I didn't have a problem.
У меня не было проблем с Митчеллом. I didn't have a problem with Mitchell.
With Mitchell. We know that you
Мы знаем, что ты ненавидел его. We know that you hated him.
hated him. And you don't even realize.
Ты сам даже не представляешь, насколько сильно ты ненавидел его. You don't even realize how much you hated him.
Realize how much you hated him. How much you hate all.
Насколько сильно ты ненавидел их всех. How much you hate all of them.
All of them. I'm telling you.
Говорю вам, у меня не было. I'm telling you that I didn't have
That I didn't have any kind of a racial problem.
никаких проблем на почве расизма с Митчеллом. Any kind of a racial problem with Mitchell.
With Mitchell.
but you had another
У тебя с ним была другая проблема. But you had another problem with him.
problem with him.
I couldn't keep it.
Паренек был очень активен в плане любовных похождений. The guy couldn't keep it in his pants.
His pants. This was
Это было... This was...
about a girl.
связано с девушкой. About a girl.
You see this guy?
Ты видишь отвращение? You see the disgust?
Yeah.
Да, я.
Well, that's hate.
Что ж, это ненависть. Well, that's hate.
I'm guessing it's racial.
Мне думается, на расовой почве. I'm guessing it's racially motivated.
Racially motivated. Was that your
В чем была твоя проблема? Wasn't that your problem?
problem? Was it that he
Дело было в том, что он был черным, а она белой, так? Was it that he was black and she was white?
was black and she was white?
I didn't know.
Я не знал, что Эрик встречается с белой девушкой. I didn't know Eric was dating a white girl.
Rick was dating a white girl. Is that why this happened?
Из-за этого все произошло? Is that why this happened?
Well, we're not sure.
Ну, мы не уверены. Well, we are not sure.
Or racial hatred.
Расовая ненависть выражается в отвращении. Racial hatred is about disgust.
It is about disgust, but when we
Но когда мы надавили на Кэддика, спросив о девушке, but when we pressed Caddick about the girl,
pressed Caddick about the girl,
The predominant
преобладающей эмоцией был гнев. The predominant emotion was anger,
emotion was anger, which suggests
который означает, что Эрик, возможно, перешел черту. Which suggests that Eric may have crossed some other line.
that Eric may have crossed some other line, that maybe
Возможно, Кэддик злился из-за того, что он не уважал его кодекс. That maybe Caddick was angry because he disrespected his code.
Caddick was angry because he disrespected his code.
By dating
Встречаясь с белой девушкой, by dating a white girl,
a white girl, it's not part of
не могу припомнить ни один кодекс, в котором было бы такое правило. That's not part of any code that I remember.
any code that I remember.
well, we don't think
Мы не думаем, что это была какая-то обычная белая девушка. Well, we don't think this was just any white girl.
this was just any white girl. Might have been
Может быть, девушка другого пожарного. Might have been another firefighter's girl.
another firefighter's girl.
He knew that.
Ему было лучше знать. He knew better.
He was smart.
Он был умнее. He was smarter than that.
Did he ever bring
Он не приводил кого-нибудь из сотрудников домой? Did he ever bring anyone home from the firehouse?
anyone home from the firehouse?
Oh God.
О Боже! Oh God!
She came by.
Она заходила. She came by.
After Eric
После смерти Эрика. After Eric died.
died, she was
Она была расстроена. She was upset.
upset. She brought me a
Она принесла мне поесть. She brought me a meal.
meal.
Do you remember her
Вы помните ее имя? Do you remember her name?
name?
Carrie.
Carrie. Carrie.
The chief's niece.
Племянница начальника. The chief's niece.
Should I call DC?
Мне позвонить в отдел по борьбе с организованной преступностью? Should I call DC Gang Task Force?